Hey, what's up, guys? Check it out. This is probably going to be a shorter one. I'm running around on location, so I don't have a lot of time. But I wanted to get a video up this week. So I have a movie that I watched recently that I'd like to discuss for a second. And that movie is Damsel. Let's talk about it. So I was curious about this movie. If you don't know, it is on Netflix right now streaming. And if I'm not mistaken, as of probably last week, it was pretty high up on the ratings in terms of like top 10 Netflix streams to watch. So this week is probably gonna be a little bit different. This is, I believe, is probably the third week out. It may still be probably in the top five, is my guess. But I was curious about this movie, not knowing anything about it at all. I just saw the poster scrolling one day and I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Maybe I'll catch that. I caught different reviews or blurbs of reviews that I didn't really read them, but I just caught like the headlines, which spoke about the movie being not good or terrible. But decided I was going to watch it anyway. I wanted to watch it anyway, just because I was curious about what it was about. And then having seen it, I actually think it's a much better movie than it's given credit for. Millie Bobby Brown, who you know from Stranger Things as Eleven. You may also know her from the Enola Holmes movies. You might know her from Godzilla, King of the Monsters. She's a well-known face. And I didn't know actually it was her, the lead, for a minute. I saw the poster real quick and for some reason it didn't register that it was her. I thought it was someone else. She stars as a princess in this movie. She comes from a town that is struggling. As a result, she must be married off so that her family and her people can thrive. She's going to be married off to a wealthy family, and it should be a win-win for everyone. The wealthy family gets their new princess, and Elodie's family gets to thrive. Now, if you see the poster, you know off the top that this damsel is not going to be a damsel who is in distress to be saved by a prince or a knight or anything like that. And that alone is interesting. The special effects are really good. I think the visuals are really strong. I think the acting for the most part is very strong. I think particularly Millie Bobby Brown, she owns this movie. So, full stop. No question. She elevates the movie. So the writing isn't strong. It's not terribly good, but it's not terrible either. But I think it would be worse off were it not for Millie Bobby Brown in the lead role. She really gives the proceedings a layer of like you believe it, you believe her, and the movie is better for it. I think pretty decent cast with heavy hitters like Robin Wright, Angela Bassett, Ray Winstone. Just great talent. It's unfortunate that the script really doesn't do a lot with a lot of the periphery characters. And I think, for better or worse, that's the movie we have. You have, this is a story about Elodie, and if you don't know already, and the dragon. There's a dragon in this movie. Obviously, as someone who's written books about dragons, I had to see what was going on with this movie. That's actually what kept me intrigued. I had no idea there was a dragon involved until I watched it, and then I started seeing, dragon stuff, and I was like, okay, so all right, let's see where this goes. But even if there weren't dragons involved, the cast keeps you invested. The cast is so good that you wanted to see where it goes. Going back to those effects, I thought that the dragon wouldn't really be shown. They did a good job with withholding the majority of the dragon until a certain point in the movie, probably around the midway through, where we get to see the full creature in all of her glory and all of her detail. Hands down, it's probably one of the best realized dragons since Smaug in the Hobbit movies. And the best voiced. She's a wonderful actress whose voice is very distinct, and she's perfect. I cannot remember her name. She's fantastic. And that's really what the movie's about. This is about Elodie and her enemy, who is the dragon. Something else that's cool about this movie is the grittiness of it and the lighting. They don't cut corners in this movie about the dankness of the dragon's lair, the darkness in it. It's not glamorously lit. It's lit in a way that if there were natural light or ways to have some light in a cave that dark, how would you naturally do it? How would it look? And the movie is as close to that as you could probably get. Obviously, they had to make some adjustments to make it so that you could see what's going on. But it looks more or less natural within the context that we see. So if there is a glowing creature or something that a necklace or some kind of tool or locket that lights up in context of the movie, that's the light you get. And so I like how the lighting reflects how it feels like it would feel if you were down up in there with this with the dragon. And the other thing is that the speaking of darkness and dankness and things, edginess, there is a considerable edge in this movie in the ways that it doesn't shy away from violence, from showing you how threatening the dragon is. It's quite shocking. It's like, well, I didn't expect that. And certainly she's just as scary as Smaug or any other. Even the dragon, Vermithrax pejorative from Dragon Slayer, who, in my opinion, is probably one of the most destructive, most threatening dragons in recent memory, probably in the last 30 years or so. She's up there. Another movie that deals with mothers, dragon moms, and Vermithrax pejorative is a dragon mom, and who had babies who also had, was trying to protect her young. And the dragon in this movie deals with similar issues, and does so in a way that's pretty brutal. And I appreciated that, though. I liked that it feels more or less that's what it would be like if you're down in there. You can see the dead bodies. You see the evidence of just destruction and like death, and not a place you want to be. So some cons. The movie has a lot of cliches in it, which would be fine on its own ordinarily if there were unique ways of displaying them. For instance, there is a scene where Elodie and her suitor, who is coming to marry her, they have a scene where they have a conversation together. They're getting to know each other. And a lot of it feels like Pride and Prejudice, or like another film where we've seen that dynamic at play much better. Good or bad, that's what we got in the movie. And it doesn't take away the overall, quality of it. I mean, I guess it would be, it would have been better if there was a unique twist on it. It just felt like I was watching a different movie in a way that's actually cool, because it makes you think you're watching something you've already seen until you see something you haven't seen. And now that I'm talking through it, that doesn't bother me as much. The other thing that was questionable, Angela Bassett, she's amazing in everything, right? She's great in this. It's unfortunate that the script doesn't give her a lot to do. She's such a rich and powerhouse performer. I wished there was more for her in this movie. That said, what she does give us is great, solid. Again, she's so genuine. You just look at her performance and look at her facial expressions. You are right there. You're right there with her. And there's no breaking. The only thing that was a little bit sort of dicey for me was the accent. Obviously, this movie, it feels, if I'm sort of guessing around where it takes place, it's fictional places, fictional lands, but inspired by medieval England. So the accents feel, they are English. They're accented in a way that something about it felt off coming from Angela Bassett. I don't know. Maybe because it was her and I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. But Robin Wright didn't have an accent. She spoke mostly normally to me. She sounded fairly how she would sound in any other movie. So I wonder if it would have been less off if Angela Bassett just used her regular voice without non-accented speaking voice. But that's where I'm sitting on it. Story. As far as the story is concerned, I actually liked the story. I actually think the story was serviceable. It wasn't like a great story, but it was well executed. And I appreciated that. I liked, some of you know this about me, I'm a fan of female characters. This is from Elodie's perspective, but also the dragon's perspective, and how there is an actual sort of dialogue between the two characters, and how it doesn't feel like it's playing to any sort of agenda. It's a straightforward, this is the position this woman happens to find herself in, and she's really dealing with a mother who's angry. So you're dealing with an angry dragon mom who's just angry. And when you pare it down to that, it's a better story, I think, than it's given credit for. And again, I think Millie Bobby Brown owned this movie. I think she makes it better. She was selling everything, every bruise, every burn. And they didn't the movie doesn't spare you from that. You see the pain on her face, but you see the bruises and you see the marks, and you see like it's not, a dainty, she's not a dainty like lady that's going to be doing all kinds of princessy stuff. This is a serious affair, and the movie treats it like that. And I think that's probably what I like most about it. In a world where dragons and like magical things exist, that there's an earnestness about it. And that is what makes the movie on the better end. The writing and sort of the writing aside, the visuals are great, the acting is great, and the story is solid. And I think if you're curious about Damsel and you haven't seen it yet, definitely consider giving it a watch, because it's better than you think. And it's better than you've heard it is. Take that for what it's worth. That's going to do it for this review. But if you've stuck around to the end of this video, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. There's a ton of other things you could be doing with your time. And if you've chosen to spend a little bit of that time with me here, I appreciate it. Check back next week. Got some more videos on the way. Take it easy.